Good afternoon, good morning, or good evening, wherever you are. This is Roger Gilbert reporting for Milling and Grain magazine, along with International Aquafeed. I'm at the World Nutrition Forum, the DSM World Nutrition Forum, but DSM is changing. This might be the last time we can use the words DSM on its own. And I'm in the company of today, which I'm pleased to say, with the Vice President, Ivo Lansbergen, who will tell us a little bit about the changes that are taking place at DSM before we get on to some details about the World Nutrition Forum. Welcome, Ivo.
Yeah, thanks. And indeed, it was the last time. So since yesterday, we're not called actually DSM anymore. We are called DSM and Firmenich. A momentous kind of change, of course, in the history of DSM, where we actually moved from mining to petrochemicals to materials to a bit of life sciences, and then we spun off material science over the last year, and now we are merging together with Firmenich officially today. So today is the birth of a new company, so proud moment really, and yeah, truly really focus on life science, of course, on animal, pet and human. So a very important step for DSM in its own history, of course also for Firmenich. So we're becoming also Swiss based, so we are still having a headquarter in Holland, but Swiss based, so quite some big steps. Already announced, was in the making, it's not entirely new, but of course now is an official the first day.
Yeah. And what does this mean in terms of staff, in terms of maybe turnover, some perspective of what this might mean?
Yeah, so the turnover of a new company is going to be roughly about 12.5 billion, so quite sizable. We were before 8.5 billion DSM, so you add another 4 billion of Firmenich, so that actually has been added, so quite a sizable company. 30,000 employees, just short of, so it's quite a sizable number of people as well, based in 60 countries in the world, so a very global company. Now I must say that in animal nutrition we were already truly global. As I normally describe the business I'm actually leading, it really is going from New Zealand to the north of to America, from Japan to Argentina and anything in between, so it's very global anyway. But now DSM Firmenich becomes also very global.
And are there any key changes that we can look towards?
Not massive changes, of course. We are going through the merger in itself, but the setup of the new company will be what we call business unit led, which means that the business units will be driving the P&L of the total firm. And then we have 4 business units, so there is a change, of course. On the one hand, of course, the business I'm representing, animal nutrition and health, that remains fairly untouched from a turnover, profitability perspective, etc. But it becomes business unit led. So that means that the functions, manufacturing, some of the functions like regulatory affairs, and supply chain, they become part of, let's say, the direct steering of my organization. So that's one change. Now, then there's business unit animal nutrition. Then we have a business unit called H&C, health, nutrition and care. We have a business unit perfumery and beauty. And then we have one which we call taste, texture and health, which was the previous food and beverage of DSM and the taste and beyond of Firmenich, and they've been merged into one new business unit, and that's called TTH, taste, texture and health. So the biggest changes are happening there, because you combine, of course, the flavors from Firmenich with the texturizers from DSM, and you put them into one proposition towards FMCGs, for example, etc. So that's where the biggest synergies are happening.
Okay. And we are here in Cancun, Mexico, attending the World Nutritional Forum, which has also seen changes in the immediate past and is seeing changes again under DSM Firmenich. So tell me, how's it going at the moment? I know we're still on the first day, but
it's 2 days, so we're
2
halfway.
days. So what's your impression so far?
I was absolutely pleased, and you will maybe not believe this really, but I was absolutely pleased actually for this morning. I kicked off the session very strongly, of course, on sustainability, how important that is actually for animal protein and farming in general. And the speakers thereafter, although that was not really, I didn't really have any conversations with them at all, but if you were there and you saw the presentations, they were very smooth. They actually would talk all about the same topics and very aligned. And I think this is a big theme. It's a big theme actually, that sustainability is something we need to actually take very serious, and it is going to be a theme which is going to be driving this value chain. Now the good news is, I think we have the power, we have the means, but now we need to start acting as well, and that's what I would argue that we are presenting here during World Nutrition Forum, with I guesstimate 5 to 10% of the feed actually represented here in this room. There's enormous power. Yeah. So if we can actually collect that and join forces to really make that kind of drive, then I think we're onto something. And that's what I see here in the World Nutrition Forum, hopefully happening. So one more day to go, of course. But I've been on the breakout sessions here. I see there's a lot of interactions and engagement.
And just an aside, aquaculture is playing an increasing role.
Yeah. Aquaculture is, of course, one of the species we are looking into, of course, also from an animal protein perspective, playing an absolutely important role for the future. So not, of course, only salmon or shrimp. We also talk about carp, tilapia, all kind of species within the fish or aqua species, if you like. So very important element actually of, let's say, the animal protein provision for, of course, food security, for food availability in the future.
And what I've noticed is that the World Nutrition Forum is now sort of attracting people across the world. Even though you're taking it to regions, it does have an international pull.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that's always been, of course, the intention. The W stands for world, so of course it always attracts a little bit more attention from the region where you actually organize it. But whether you're organized in Europe, you will have people from Asia flying in, from Latin America flying in, of course. Now we are in Latin America to actually put a bit of focus, of course, on the Americas in general. Quite an important time zone region, if I can call it. But we get people even in, as you saw, from China, from Asia actually altogether, and not just a small contingent. So happy to see them as well, by the way, because it's been a very tough time for all of us, COVID-19, but I would even especially actually call out here our Chinese customers and colleagues who were locked down actually till January. So they're here, and we actually then collectively talk about, okay, what we can do from a nutritional side to really make animal farming more sustainable.
Yeah. And finally, just a question around sustainability, back to sustainability. Do you think your company and others like you are leading the way for the industry to take on the challenges around sustainability? Not just customers, but the industry at large.
Yeah. At least we have some thoughts. I find the question actually of whether we are leading, I leave that actually for others to judge. We do think that we should really play a role in this, and we do that. So in that sense, we are having a product portfolio which makes an impact, like a Bovaer, for example, which is the methane killer. As I call this, a 30% reduction of methane from ruminants. We have a Verimaris algae oil, EPA, DHA, replacing, of course, fish meal to some extent, fish oil. So quite an important kind of example. Feed enzymes, gut health products, etc. But there's other companies doing this as well.
Yes. Yeah.
On the other hand, we also have now precision services, so services which are helping farmers, companies really to drive sustainability. So in that sense, we are not alone, nor do we think we can actually do this alone. We need to do this together with our customers, with the value chain partners, and sometimes also with competitors. Because this space, and we are running out of time, this space needs to be really just now picked up by all of us to really make a profound impact, because there's no time to lose.
Yeah. And can I ask you, what is your take-home message from so far today, the first conference day?
Take-home is a couple actually. One, you saw it actually, and I was so glad actually to see that actually before I start speaking, there was... the question was to the audience, what is the biggest impact you're going to see? And of course, I was going to do my speech. I was prepared for something, but I was so pleased to see that people understand that we need to actually work on data and provide transparency. Not only transparency for a farm operation in itself, but also towards the consumer. And I saw that actually already being confirmed before I said one word. So that in itself is for me such a pleasure to see that that's at least been recognized. It was unprompted, it was not staged in any sense of the word, so I was very pleased to see that.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Ivo. All the best with DSM Firmenich in the future, and thank you for hosting such a wonderful, yet again, World Nutritional Forum here in Cancun, Mexico.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you, Roger. Thanks.